Hello, Queens. We are here, our very first episode of Queen Talks. This is different, but it's really exciting because it's just me, which I'm admittedly a little bit nervous for, but I think these are going to be so much fun for you guys because we are going to talk about all of the things. We are going to talk about all of the issues and challenges you face as female soccer players. And I'm just excited to hop on these solo mini episodes. I was thinking a lot about how I was going to do these segments, and I want to keep them into more bite-sized episodes just because I want you guys to be able to listen to these on the way to practice, in the car ride, on the way to a tournament, or maybe even falling asleep at night. I know I listen to a lot of podcasts when I'm winding down for bed because I don't like to go on my phone. So I'd rather have some sort of audio to put me to sleep. And yes, I keep it really quiet and it does shockingly work for me and puts me to sleep. So you can use these mini episodes for that. So this will be fun. I appreciate all of the support from everyone about these solo episodes. It seems like they're so needed because a lot of you guys face a lot of challenges that you struggle to bring up to others or talk to adults about. I really want to cover every single topic. So if you have any requests on certain things you want me to give advice on, I am so happy to chat with you in these Queen Talks. These episodes are going to be me speaking from my personal experience, some of the things I learned in my soccer career and some of the mistakes that I made, but some of the wins that I had over my career. Most requested topic, which I'm going to kick off the first episode ever of Queen Talks with today, is how to become confident. I get this question a lot, and it seems like a lot of you guys are struggling with confidence. You could be in a playing rut. You could be scared to try out for that higher level team and just not sure of your abilities. You could be just not confident in the college recruiting process and unsure of where you belong. Or you could just not feel confident doing certain things with friends. And it doesn't necessarily have to be soccer confidence. I remember growing up, I dealt with a lot of issues of social anxiety and lacking confidence in going up to people and like getting comfortable with strangers. So it could be confidence from that end. I just want to encourage you guys that confidence is so possible to achieve, but you're going to have to put in the work to get there. It's not going to come overnight. It might not come until 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road. Shoot, it probably took me till age 30 to feel fully confident and to not really get worried about what other people thought. I still have some doubts, and I'll get into that today and give you guys some funny stories. But I've just realized that the more uncomfortable a situation makes me, or the more nervous I am about something, and the more I don't feel as confident about something, I have to go towards it more. I should be doing that thing, and I should never shy away from it because I will never know what's on the other end and how much confidence I can have if I don't try, if I don't get my feet wet, if I don't get uncomfortable, and if I don't challenge myself. So I want to just give you guys a funny story. And this happened to me earlier this year. I've always been very nervous about public speaking. When I was in high school and I had to give a presentation to the class, I would get so nervous about it like weeks leading up. The teacher would give us the syllabus at the beginning of the semester and be like, "Oh, you have an oral presentation in this class." And I'd be like, "Oh, shit. I don't want to do this. This is going to suck." I've always struggled with public speaking my whole life. And which is crazy because I'm on this podcast talking to you all and thousands of people every single week. Again, I've gotten better at it because I've gotten uncomfortable and more confident as a result. But I used to always be afraid of public speaking. And even this past year, when I got the call to present at the United Coaches Convention, I was terrified. Granted, I was really excited because I had always dreamed of presenting at this conference when I was in my early 20s and a young coach. I remember going to the coaches convention and being like, wow, it would be so cool to speak and spread the message. Mind you, I get the phone call, oh, you're a speaker in 2023. I was ecstatic, but I also was like, oh my gosh, those fears of public speaking and that lack of confidence started to really hit me. I almost said no. I really have my husband to thank for this because I was talking to him and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. I'm really scared. There's going to be like 200 people in the room. I just don't know if I want to go. And I always have this weird thing of I get really scared whenever I get these like big opportunities. And I think it's just because A, I've always had a fear of public speaking, and B, I've just gotten so comfortable with my routine and like not traveling, staying home. I'm like such a homebody and I love my routine, being with my athletes and the people that I know, being with my family, being with my friends. And I always am worried about getting out of my comfort zone. But in the end, I still do these things anyway because I know they're good for me. I always do that. I always second guess at the beginning, but then when I end up doing something that's such a great opportunity that I'm like really uncomfortable with, and that's a challenge for me, it ends up being the best thing to ever happen. I just want to encourage you guys to do that thing that you're really scared of, and that is really going to be a challenge for you, whether it's physically or mentally, and just to do the darn thing, because that's where confidence is truly birthed. It's not something that comes from playing it safe. It's not something that comes from just staying home, staying where you're comfortable, maybe staying on the same team that you're the best player on. Go try out for that higher level team. Go play with those older girls. Go play or compete or do speed training against players who are faster and stronger and better than you. You're never going to gain confidence if you play it safe and if you don't truly challenge yourself. I want you guys to just really think about where in your life right now you're holding back because of fear. But at the same time, you're saying, I want to gain confidence. I want to be so unshakably confident that I just exude this vibrance, this radiance, this strength about me, and I can handle anything. So you want that, go out and get it. And even if you try something challenging, and even if you fail, say worst case scenario happens, don't you feel better about yourself that you tried and you at least saw what you might be capable of? You would feel way worse if you just hid at home, curled up in a ball, and didn't even try. The cost of not trying is way worse than the cost of even trying the thing. I'll tell you guys another really funny story because I think we are going to get into a lot of soccer examples on Queen Talks, but I also want to give some really funny life examples just because you guys have friendships and groups that you hang out with, and there's things that you deal with in your friend groups or at school. It's the same in adult life, and this is so funny. So, same thing comes up. I get a great opportunity to be in this amazing women's networking group in Tampa, Florida, and I've been saying for so long, I really want to get into a women's like entrepreneur business group and just meet other amazing women. But at the same time, I'm very socially awkward. And I've been very comfortable with just hanging out with my friend groups and people that I know. And I get really scared in new like social situations because I have a big introverted part of me. If you haven't noticed, I'm at home on a Saturday recording this episode in my sweatpants and I'm just really happy about it. I decided to go to this event because I know in the end it's going to be amazing that I try something like this, because it wasn't worth it for me to not even try and meet these women, and it was more worth it to get out into the world and see what was out there. So I drive to this event. I am sitting in the car and I felt like I was in like the middle school lunchroom again. I was like just figuring out, oh my gosh, like who am I going to sit with at the lunch table? Like I don't have any friends. This is so awkward. I'm not the popular kid. I get to the event and I'm just like sitting in my car and I'm like looking at people like walking in the event. And I just have this perception. I'm like, oh my gosh, like these women are just like awesome. They got their crap together. Like, who am I to be here? I just remember having these perceptions going in of how the event was going to go, and I thought I like wasn't going to like it, but I went anyway, obviously. So I go inside, I get some courage, and I just start talking to people. It ended up being the most amazing night ever, of course. And it was one of those situations where I felt really nervous and a little bit anxious about, but I would rather find out and go so that I can maybe meet some new friends or learn something new or get more confident in social settings. And I never would have grown if I had not tried those things. It just really relates to everything in life and everything in sports. And I even had an athlete the other day who asked me how she can get confidence back on the field. And I asked her what she specifically needed confidence in. And she said that her first touch was awful. Her skills just feel like they weren't sharp enough. And I asked her, well, when was the last time you A, practiced your skills on your own, and B, practice those skills in a setting that's more challenging than what you do in the game? She had an awful answer for both of those questions. She said she hadn't practiced her skills, so she lacked preparation. And B, she never trained with people who were better than her or in an environment that really challenged her to take a first touch under pressure. So the key with confidence, it really comes down to two things: competence, so knowing the skill, and then applying the skill under challenge. If you can nail that down those year round, then you are going to be such a confident player. It's going to be absolutely ridiculous. Just to take it back to the presentation at United Coaches, in order for me to feel confident going into that, I needed the competence. So in this case, it was having a very sharp presentation, which I over prepared and made sure everything was perfect, because it does have to be pretty much perfect. I am one of those people that I want everything to be so good that is presented that when it is presented, everyone's like, wow, like that was really thought out. So going into that event, I had to really over prepare and just make everything look sharp and look clean. And I practiced the presentation. I tried to articulate myself the best I could. I could have just played the victim and been like, well, I'm not good at public speaking. It's just like not my thing, but I over prepared it. And then the second piece to that was going into the challenge itself and not shying away from the presentation and actually going to the conference, even though I was about to say no to it. I hope this helps and it gives you guys some inspiration on how to truly get confidence. I read an interesting tweet from one of my favorite authors, Mark Manson, and he said that confidence doesn't come from just positivity and positive self-talk all the time. You can't warp your reality and be like, well, I'm amazing and I'm confident and I'm great and I'm awesome. You can't like live in this illusion of positive self-talk if you're not becoming competent in your skill and not facing challenges. I'm not saying don't do positive affirmations. I'm not suggesting that positive thinking's bad. Of course, I want everyone to feel positive, but confidence doesn't come from just that. There comes a time when you have to really master your craft and over prepare in the gym, over prepare with your skills training, and then take that and get into an environment that you're not used to. That might be a bomb to your system, but it's so needed to grow. Thank you, Queens, for joining me today for the first episode of Queen Talks. If you have an episode recommendation on anything mental training, please leave a comment below and let me know what you're thinking. I want to just reiterate that the Queen Talks episodes, I will not be talking about anything performance training or science or performance based, because I'm saving that for the regular Soccer Queens segment with the guests that I bring on. So the Queen Talks are solely mental discussions, emotional discussions, and hormonal discussions, anything that you face and you feel challenged by as a female soccer player. And I really hope that you guys get a lot out of these episodes and you enjoyed the first episode today.